Morning, this is Jack from the AskChat.net, and this is the pre-market recording for Friday, the 4th of January. A disclaimer, we do this for educational purposes only. We're here to share our technical analysis with you. We hope you can take some of what we're doing and learn from it, draw through your own charts. We're not here to issue trading signals. Now, yes, what I was saying last night was basically we were at an inflection point, and we're still, it's not quite as clear as it would be. Well, we've got a nice double top here. It's broken down. We have this is also a potential, this was a lower high, this is a potential bull flag forming, wondering about a possible megaphone, but one way or the other. What I was saying last night was we were at an inflection point where either we break and convert the weekly pivot and head down to the targets. The corresponding target on SPX is at 24.14, but the ES1 is at 23.85. Now, we haven't obviously done that yet. We could be rejecting. It's not as clear as it would be if this was a head and shoulders, because there you've got invalidation over the right shoulder high, which we wouldn't have reached. But as it is, this is double top, so it's not as clear as that. We shall see how that goes this morning. It's looking promising to reject, and we shall see how it goes. The exactly the same situation effectively is happening on NQ. Another double top, another slight breakdown, another inflection point where we either head down to the target, which effectively is a retest of the lows, or we break up towards the monthly pivot, reject into the previous high, do a marginal high, and chances are we fell at the monthly pivot 64.41. Now let's have a look at the RTH charts, and let's have a look at the 60-minute chart here. Now there's two levels I'll be watching today. The first one is the 50-hour moving average. That closed yesterday at 24.56, and we closed slightly below it. Basically, we're going to gap back over that today. If that holds as support, then that is short-term trend support. This tends to be a pretty good indicator of which way we're going. Obviously, we chop through it when we are consolidating sideways, or topping out. But basically, at this stage, if we see a hard break below it and it converts to resistance, well, it's not far above the weekly pivot, but that's a pretty good indicator that we're going down. Looking at the daily chart, we're also below the 5-DMA. This is another short-term indicator I watch, and we've currently got that at 24.87. We're slightly below that. We're going to open slightly below that, but we maybe just be back testing that as resistance. I think Stan gave this area at 24.90 area as a key short-term resistance area yesterday. That's what it still is. 5-DMA is there. Really need to get back over that and convert it to see the higher high, but at the moment it looks fairly promising for seeing that higher high. Now let's have a look at CL. CL, we've got right. CL has broken up through triple resistance. Triple resistance was monthly pivot, and channel resistance, and IHS resistance, neckline resistance. Now, at the moment, it looks like we are converting the monthly pivot. If that remains the case, then we've got a target in the 53.50 area. If it fails hard here, then we've got an IHS here, so we'd be looking at invalidation of the IHS at about the 45.50 area. But basically, below the weekly pivot, break and convert, and we go back and retest the lows. No current divergence, not seeing any obvious reason to think that this is not going to convert the monthly pivot and head up towards 53.5. Right, NG, we had a buy signal, that's made target, but it's interesting where it has is failing so far. It's failing at broken support. And actually, that was resistance there. It's resistance there as well. It could continue to fail there, or maybe it's failing there into a retest of the low to set up a larger double bottom, but we already have a potential double bottom, which is broken up here. We could be forming an IHS as an alternate, which would involve probably an ideal right shoulder low in about the 2.9 area. But I'm watching this area as resistance. We've run out of buy signal on the 60-minute, and I'm not sure, because this action was overnight, that we've actually had the buy signal fix on the daily yet. I'm still thinking this is in the bottoming process, but if we get back, if we break with any confidence over the overnight highs, then we're back through this trend line, and the way is open. The obvious next target would be this double resistance here at weekly pivot and monthly pivot. On the way, Stan's got 320 as a key area. Okay, GC, This is a rising wedge, and it is breaking down slightly. This is likely to be topping out. We could form a head and shoulders here, could retest the high, do a double top, but I think we're about to see the retracement that we've been expecting. How far will that get? Well, weekly pivot 1276 is a first target. Monthly pivot would be a match, possibly with rising support. I'm not really keeping my expectations that high for a move down. I'm mainly looking at this as a reload long opportunity. Which is forming. So we'll see where it goes, and looking for looking for a buy setup sooner rather than later. I'm not expecting a serious reversal here. SI, we're still on a 60-minute sell signal, which has not failed yet. This is overthrown wedge resistance, and pretty nice wedge resistance at the highs overnight, and it's coming down and is testing wedge support. I'm expecting this to, in all probability, follow gold and break down. And so we should be starting a retracement. Having said that, we could easily retest the high as part of the topping process. But I think the retracement looks as though it is starting here. HG, I had a look at the bigger picture chart, and what I've been talking about was a marginal lower low against the 2018 low, and we managed that yesterday. And that means I've got monthly positive divergence. It doesn't mean that's the low, but it means it could be the low. We don't actually, to satisfy the retest of the low that I was looking for, we do not need to go any lower than this. We might go lower anyway, but we could be forming a bottoming pattern here. We are still on a 60-minute buy signal. ZB is... The obvious next target is actually almost at 150 now, and that is channel resistance. We haven't quite made that yet. We've got a weak 60-minute sell signal fixed. I'm wondering about a move back to channel support, which is now in about the 146.03 area. If we see a break below that, then likely we see that follow through into some kind of a retracement. But again, I don't have a clear topping pattern here yet. There are options. We could form a head and shoulders here, for instance. But we might, of course, as always, need to retest the high for a double top. DX, it looks as though it's pulled back, is moving back up. If it can convert the monthly pivot back to support at 96.17, then my ideal targets for a topping pattern here are 97, if this is a head and shoulders right shoulder, or 97.5 if we're retesting the high. I'm not seeing any obvious reason to think that we're not going to be doing that at the moment. We've broken up for a little double bottom here, which would get us back to about the 96.25 area. I'm liking the upside here. But I would note that if we broke down hard through 95.4 now, then this head and shoulders would already be a valid head and shoulders. So we needn't necessarily go any higher. But I think I'm still quite liking 97 or 97.5, and I do have some declining resistance in the 96.65 area. Okay, USD. USD, again, possible IHS forming. This would be a bit of a stumpy right shoulder if it went straight from here, but actually this has actually gone below already the ideal right shoulder low. So we're in the right sort of area, testing resistance at the monthly pivot and weekly pivot. I'm not sure I wouldn't be watching the USD chart more than the DX chart here. As I think it might well give a truer picture. Although the main patterns here are just mirror images of each other, the wedges. They've been correlating reasonably closely. USD/JPY had this big spike down yesterday and a rally, went back to where it was thrown almost. Might have a little more upside in it, but I'm wondering whether we're going to follow through and retest this low soon. USD CAD has broken down. It's made the double top target. And it made the sell signal target. We've got a possible 60-minute buy signal brewing. I've got obvious trendline support at about the 1.335 area, and we may need to go there. We are below the monthly pivot, and at the moment that looks as though it's converted to resistance. So we do have a possible opening here to go and test the trendline support in the 1.335 area. Australian dollar, we also had a spike down there. We've broken up through declining resistance. I'm quite liking the long side here, actually, but it might go and retest this low anyway. That's down in the 66 area, and overall, in the bigger picture, this is now, I think, a double bottom. KC, I'm wondering about a possible triangle forming here, and if so, my lean would be it would at least retest the low, and ideally it would make it to 97.75 for a retest of the bear market low that would set up monthly positive divergence. Still looking for that. Obvious resistance is at the monthly pivot, 1.0377, and I've got declining resistance now in about the 1.05 area. SB, I've got a possible falling wedge here, and it could still reverse back up here as basically an oversized right shoulder on an IHS. So I'm watching this with interest. We don't have any positive divergence here. We had plenty of opportunities to set some up here, and we didn't do it. So that may mean that this actually isn't a wedge, and we're going to continue downwards. So keeping an open mind, obvious resistance at weekly pivot and monthly pivot, 1236 to 1238. Okay, CC, still in the channel, still got a nice looking double top, still on a sell signal, which has got closer to target but hasn't reached it. If we are just going to make a test of channel support, I've got that now in the same area as the possible double top support in the 2340 to 45 area. Now, what this does mean is if we see a break below that level, then we will also have broken the channel, which will be pretty bearish and would support the idea that the double top would make target. And that target, of course, is in about the 2240 area. Okay, ZW. ZW is still on a falling channel here. It's retested this low. We're on a 60-minute buy signal. That's got pretty close to the near miss target, but hasn't reached it yet. And I think we're about to test channel resistance, and we could break up from it. Watching that with interest. 516 area. Right, that was a weed. Okay, if we get below 500, we may have targets another 7% lower, 460s. So I'm wary about that possibility. Double bottom here on corn is broken up. We're over the monthly pivot. Might need a back test to convert that to support. I've got an open target above in the 383 area. Which has not yet been reached. Soy, again, this is an IHS that's broken up. I've got an open target in the 924 area. We haven't made that yet. No current negative divergence, and the 60-minute sell signal that was open failed. So liking the upside on this, might need a bit of a retracement first. We shall see. All right, great. I'm going to stop it there and